हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परम सपरिवराजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिष्य विदभे चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 6, Text 37 and 38. So we'll recite both the verses because both are important. So first we'll do the word by word recitation. Padbhyam Bhakta Hridi Stabhyam Vandyabhyam Lokavanditaihi Angam Yasyah Samakramya Bhagavan Api Tatsanam Yatu Dhanyapi Sa Swargam Avapa Janani Gatim Krishna Bhuktastanakshiraha Kim U Gavaha Anumataraha Padbhyam Bhakta Hridisthabhyam Vandyabhyam Lokavanditaihi Angam Yasya Samakramya Bhagavanapi Tatstanam Yatu Dhanyapi Sa Swargam Avapajanani Gatim Krishna Bhuktastanakshiraha Kim Ugavo Numataraha Padbhyam Bhakta Hridisthabhyam Vandyabhyam Lokavanditaihi Angam Yasya Samakramya Bhagavanapi Tatstanam Yatu Dhanyapi Sa Swargam Avapajanani Gatim Krishna Bhuktastanakshiraha Kim Ugavo Numataraha. Padbhyam Bhakta Hridisthabhyam Lokavanditaihi Angam Yasya Samakramya Bhagavanapi Tatstanai Yatu Dhanyapi Sa Swargam Krishna Bhuktastanakshira Kim Ugavo Numataraha. Bhagavanapi Tatstanam Yatu Dhanyapi Sa Swargam Avapajanani Gatim Krishna Bhuktastanakshira किं नु गावो नु मातरः वन्दाभ्यां लोकवन्दितैः अङ्गं यस्यासमाक्रम्य भगवानपि तत्स्तनम् यातु धान्यपि सा स्वर्गम् अवाप जननी गतिम् कृष्णभुक्तस्तनक्षीरा किमु गावो नु मातरः माताजी अभ्यां भक्तहृदिस्ताभ्यां वन्द्याभ्यां लोकवन्दितैः अङ्गं यस्याः समाक्रम्य भगवानपि तत्स्तनम् यातु धान्यपि सा स्वर्गम् अवाप जननी गतिम् कृष्णभुक्तस्तनक्षीराः किम् उगावो नु मातरः Padbhyam, by the two lotus feet, Bhakta Hridi Sthabhyam, which are always thought of by pure devotees, in whose heart the Lord is therefore situated constantly. Vandyabhyam, which are always to be praised. Lokavanditaihi, by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, who are praised by all the inhabitants of the three worlds. Angam, the body. Yasyaha, of whom, Putana. Samakramya, embracing. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Api, also. Tatstanam, that breast. Yatu dhani api, although she was a witch, whose only business was to kill small children, and who had tried to kill Krishna also. Sa, she, Swargam, the transcendental abode. Avapa, achieved. Janani Gatim, the position of a mother. Krishna Bhukta Stanakshiraha. Therefore, because their breasts were sucked by Krishna, who drank the milk flowing from their bodies. Kim U, what to speak of? Gavaha, the cows. Anumataraha, exactly like mothers who allowed their nipples to be sucked by Krishna. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always situated within the core of the heart of the pure devotee. And he is always offered prayers by such worshipable personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Because Krishna embraced Putana's body with great pleasure and sucked her breast, although she was a great witch, she attained the position of a mother in the transcendental world and thus achieved the highest perfection. What then is to be said of the cows whose nipples Krishna sucked with great pleasure and who offered their milk very jubilantly with affection exactly like that of a mother? Purport. These verses explain how devotional service rendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether directly or indirectly, knowingly or unknowingly, becomes successful. Putna was neither a devotee nor a non devotee. She was actually a demoniac which, instructed by Kamsa to kill Krishna. Nonetheless, in the beginning, she assumed the form of a very beautiful woman and approached Krishna exactly like an affectionate mother, so that Mother Yashoda and Rohini did not doubt her sincerity. The Lord took all this into consideration, and thus she was automatically promoted to a position like that of Mother Yashoda. As explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there are various roles one may play in such a position. Putna was immediately promoted to Vaikuntha Loka, which is also sometimes described as Swarga. The Swarga mentioned in this verse is not the material heavenly planet, but the transcendental world. In Vaikuntha Loka, Putna attained the position of a nurse, Dhatri Uchitam, as described by Uddhava. Putna was elevated to the position of a nurse and maid servant in Golok Vrindavan to assist Mother Yashoda. So I'll read the translation again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is always situated within the core of the heart of the pure devotee, and he is always offered prayers by such worshipable personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Because Krishna embraced Putna's body with great pleasure and sucked her breast, although she was a great witch, she attained the position of a mother in the transcendental world and thus achieved the highest perfection. What then is to be said of the cows whose nipples Krishna sucked with great pleasure and who offered their milk very jubilantly with affection exactly like that of a mother? So, we are continuing our discussion on this chapter, chapter 6, the killing of the demon Putna. So, Putna has already been killed. So, then Shukdev Goswami, from the previous two verses, he is glorifying the position of Putna and the mercy and compassion of Krishna in delivering her the position as good as his mother. So, actually, these four verses from 35, 36, 37, and 38, these four verses form or they are explained by the Acharyas as forming this logic called as Kaimutya. Now, Kaimutya, it's called Kaimutya. What it means is a comparison is given in terms of if Putna can attain such perfection, although she approached Krishna with a very horrible attitude, a very demoniac attitude, a Rakshasi attitude to kill Krishna, and she can attain such a destination, then what is there for those who with faith, and who with devotion worship Krishna? And then again, this verse also explains that if just by offering her breast milk, Putna could attain, and although she was not offering her breast milk as such, she was offering the poison which was smeared on her breast, but she could attain such an exalted destination, then what to speak of those devotees, those cows who offered their milk with pure love and devotion? So what will they achieve? So this is like a comparison which is being made. And this also appears in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So there's a conversation that happens in Brahma Vaivarta Purana between Narad Muni and Narayana Rishi. So at that time, Narad Muni asks that how was Putna able to achieve such an exalted destination? And then the response that Narayana Rishi gives is, it's a story that we are all familiar with, that Putna in her previous birth was the daughter of Bali Maharaj. So her name was Ratnamala. And when Vaman Dev entered the assembly of Bali Maharaj, then Ratnamala had this intense desire to have Vamandev suck her breast. That motherly affection, that Vatsalya Bhav arose within her. So, when Vamadev entered and he saw her, at that time he could understand her feelings. So, it's mentioned there in Brahma Vaivarta Purana that Vamadev, at that time itself, he gave her the blessing that he will fulfill her desire. Before anything else happened in that past time, Vamadev blessed her. And to fulfill that blessing, then he performed this pastime where he sucked the breast of Putna. So there also, Narayan Rishi, after explaining this previous janma of Putna, he also says, Dattva Vishastanam Krishnam Putana Rakshasi Mune Muktim Matra Gatim Prapa Kam Bhajami Vinaharim. So Dattva Vishastanam Krishnam. So she gave Vishastanam, her breast which was smeared with Visha, which is poison. Putana Rakshasi Mune. So Putana gave this breast smeared with poison. Muktim Matragatim Prapa. And she attained Mukti, liberation, just like a mother or the destination of mother, Matragatim. Here also we have Janani Gatim in this verse. So we'll discuss about that more. Matragatim Prapa Kambhajami Vinaharim. So if that being the case, if by not worshipping Krishna at all, just by attempting to kill Krishna, she could attain such a high destination as Matragatim, then Kambhajami Vinaharim. So who will be there who will not worship Krishna? So this is also an example of Kaimutya. And this is an astonishment. We also saw in previous verses that Vismitaha was discussed. It's wonderful. It's astonishing that Putna, who was trying to kill Krishna, then Krishna is able to, or rather Krishna was not able, but then Krishna did deliver her and to give her the position of mother. So this is a very exalted pastime in that sense. And this verse itself, each and every phrase of this verse has been explained by our acharyas. So Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Shri Jiva Goswami, and even Sanatan Goswami also gives an elaborate description for each of these verses. So we will see that one by one. So and one more reference, one more thing that we can understand is when Vamandev appeared. Just going back to Brahma Vaivarta Purana again. When Vamandev appeared, then when he entered the assembly hall, nobody was aware of what he was going to do, or what pastime is going to unfold, or what was going to happen. They thought he is a very exalted Brahmana, maybe Lord Vishnu himself, but he came and then he has hidden himself in such a way where he is not revealing his personality as Lord Vishnu himself. Okay, and then Ratnamala obviously gets attracted, and Bali Maharaj asks Vamandev what he wants. Vamandev asks 3 steps of land, and Bali Maharaj was ready to give that, and of course all that pastime unfolds. So Vamandev was, from, if we can try to analyze from this pastime's perspective, Vamandev came in a form which was very attractive to everybody, but then what he accomplished was something which was not desired by the demons who were there. Of course, Bali Maharaj was a pure devotee, but the other demons were not desiring that. It did not happen according to what they thought. So this pastime also is like kind of reciprocation to that, where Putna also comes, okay, in a form which is where she is not revealing what she is exactly going to do. So she comes in that form, okay, as a very beautiful woman, and then everybody allows her to come inside. Mother Yashoda allows Rohini, everybody allows inside, and they allow her to nurse Krishna also. But then here, the only viparita, the only thing that happened is, in that pastime also Vamandev was able to accomplish what he wanted, and this pastime also Krishna accomplished what he wanted, which was to kill Putna. Although she came in a guise of a very beautiful woman, just like Vamandev came in a form which was not revealing of his true intentions, and Putna also came in a form which was not revealing of her true intentions. But Krishna achieved what he wanted to achieve, and at the same time he gave the highest destination to Putna also. Just like Vamandev came, he achieved what he wanted to achieve, and he gave a higher exalted destination to Bali Maharaj. So this is one thing, because it's connected, and Putna was Ratnamala. So this pastime kind of unfolded in a reciprocal way, like it's a mirror image like that. And And this we will see, probably we'll discuss it at the end. So I'll just move ahead. So the first phrase that's mentioned is Padbhyam Bhakta Hridi Stabhyam, and then Vandyabhyam Loka Vanditaihi. So it's specifically mentioned here, Srila Prabhupada translates that by the two lotus feet, which are always thought of by pure devotees, in whose heart the Lord is therefore situated constantly. Okay, but we understand from Bhagavad Gita also, from Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna is always there in every living entity's heart. He says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishtaha matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha vedesha sarve hame vedya vedanta krit veda videva chaham. So he says, so Krishna is there in everyone's heart. And he, when he's speaking this verse, he's saying, Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishtaha. He's speaking about him personally. Okay, he is not speaking, of course, in the 13th chapter, he speaks that he is situated as Paramatma, Upadrishtana Mantracha, Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara, Paramatmeti Chapikto, Deyasmin Purusha Paraha. This is Paramatma, is, Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, is situated in the heart. But here in the 15th chapter, he specifically says that he himself is situated in the heart of all living entities. Sarvasya Chaham, Hridi Sannivishtaha. But here, it's specifically mentioned in this verse that Padbhyam Bhakta Hridi Sthabhyam, that the Lord's lotus feet is situated in the bhaktas, in the heart, in the core of the heart of the devotees. So how do we understand? It's simple. Actually, Krishna himself gives an answer to that in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Ye yathamam prabhadyante tam sathaiva vajamyaham. So as living entities reciprocate or surrender to him, he reciprocates accordingly. As they approach him, then he also reciprocates accordingly, like that. So when he is there, to those living entities who are not interested in Krishna, although he is there, he is not taking any personal interest in them. Okay, so he's just Upadrishta Anumanta. He's just witnessing and is sanctioning their activities. And Prabhupada also quotes this in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita in his purport. That is just like two birds sitting in a tree. So one bird is trying to enjoy the fruits of the tree, and another bird is the Paramatma who is just observing. And until that bird looks towards this Paramatma bird, the super soul bird, then it's allowed to, or the Paramatma bird just sees. Like this. And this purport specifically comes in connection where Arjuna says that Shishya Steham Shadi Mam Tam Prapannam, I am surrendering on to you. So now you please instruct me. So in that context, this reference is mentioned that only when one surrenders onto the Lord, then the Lord starts instructing him. Till that point, he is neutral. So here, Padbhyam Bhakta Hridi Sthabhyam, the first few lines, the first 4 lines of this verse, Padbhyam Bhakta Hridi Sthabhyam, Vandyabhyam Lokavanditaihi, Angam Yasya Samakramya, Bhagavan Apitakstanam. So these are all the glories of the Lord which is mentioned. So it's like kind of a build-up. These are the glories of the Lord, of what all his activities are, what all his pastimes are, what is his inclination, what is his behavior, what he likes, what he does not like. And although he has all these things and is favorably devoted, favorably inclined towards the devotees, but still, when it comes to Putna, somehow his mercy and his compassion towards Putna is inconceivable. It's very difficult to understand. The devotees are always inclined towards the Lord. They want to serve the Lord. They want to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay, so that's Padbhyam Bhakta Hridi Sthabhyam. So that's the glory of the Lord. Those who do not want to serve, of course, he is there, but only in a neutral capacity. But those who are devotees of the Lord, he is favorably inclined. So even this verse, this Bhagavad Gita verse is there where Krishna says that Named Veshostina Priyaha Ye Bhajanti Tuma Bhaktya Maite Teshu Chapyaham. So all Samoham Sarvabhuteshu Named Veshostina Priyaha. Then I'm equal to everybody. Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. To all living entities I'm equal. Samoham Sarvabhuteshu Named Vesho Stina Priyaha. So no, I'm not envious of everybody, nor anybody is dear to me. But Ye Bhajanti Tuma Bhaktya. But those who worship me, those who render devotional service to me, Ye Bhajanti Tumam Bhaktya, Maite, they are in me, and Teshu Chapyaham, and I am also in them. So there is a favorable inclination. And Prabhupada in the purport also explained that it's quite natural that one may not hate or love somebody, but then when someone is favorably inclined, or when somebody is giving and offering service to you, then there's a reciprocation that also happens there. So this particular point is brought out here, that Padbhyam Bhakta Hridhi Sthabhyam, that although the Lord is situated in every living entity's heart, but when it comes to the devotees, then he is situated in a very, it's like it's fixed. He's there. He has no intention of moving or of uh, not giving personal attention to his devotees. So that is his glory. That when the devotees serve him, then he is situated in their heart and he is always favorably inclined towards them. So the next glory that's mentioned is Vandyabhyam Lokavanditaihi. So he is worshipped by those personalities who are considered as worshipable. So within this material world, there are several personalities who are considered worshipable, and from a broad macro perspective, then Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, actually it comes in the commentary of the Acharyas that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are the most exalted personalities who are worshipable by everybody, and that we can understand from the instances or the histories which are mentioned in the Itihasas and Puranas, that whenever the demigods are in trouble, then they go to Lord Brahma, and then Lord Brahma approaches Lord Vishnu, or sometimes he'll approaches Lord Shiva also, and they are then able to mitigate the miseries of the demigods. So Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are the most exalted demigods. They are the Lokavanditaihi. Everybody worships them, just like normal people, common people. They go and worship the demigods. But when the demigods are in trouble, they go and worship Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. And when they are also in trouble, when they are also not able to mitigate the miseries within this material world, then they approach Lord Vishnu. Therefore, they also worship the Lord Vishnu. Vandyabhyam Lokavanditaihi. And it's also interesting because if you see from Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva's point of view, there's nothing that they do not know of what is happening within this material world. And if we go deeper into this Puranas, Itihasas, all the 18 Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana and all, there are such glorious activities, magnificent activities and opulences which are exhibited by common people. So, these things are the amazing activities which are done by common people. There are great kings whose historical narrations have been mentioned. There are Brahmanas who are extremely powerful. We can get into examples, but it will divert. So there are so many pastimes or so many instances which are mentioned, and Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, they are completely aware of them, and they themselves can perform such great activities or much higher, bigger activities than a common person. But still, when it comes to Krishna's pastimes, they are also bewildered. They're also astonished, and they are also amazed by these activities. And what are Krishna's activities? He's playing with cows, he's playing with calves, right? And he's sucking the breast of his mother, and then these normal activities, and he's sharing his lunch with the cowherd boys, and then they're playing and they're having some nice activities. So although they have seen such magnificent glorious activities all over the world throughout history, different days of Brahma have passed, different narrations have been, different histories have been observed by Lord Shiva. They themselves can accomplish so many things, but still when they become attracted to Krishna's pastimes, and these things are elaborately mentioned in of course in Srimad Bhagavatam and then other Puranas as well, that Krishna's pastimes are so sweet that although it may apparently seem that he's performing only very simple activities, but they attract everybody. So which proves that Krishna's pastimes are completely spiritual and transcendental, and they are not of this material world. So therefore his lotus feet are worshipped. So when it says Padbhyam Bhakta Hridisthabhyam Vandyabhyam, so this Vandyabhyam actually refers to the Padbhyam. So it's in the dual case, Dvivachana. So these lotus feet of Krishna, who performs at several places just ordinary pastimes, which apparently look like ordinary pastimes, are worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva also, who have seen the extent of this universe. So that itself is a glory to Krishna's pastimes. So such a Lord whose lotus feet is worshipped by the great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, what did he do? Angam yasyaha samakramya. So samakramya means he completely gave his lotus feet to Putana. So Srila Prabhupada translates here, embracing, he mentions, but that's one thing. And the Acharyas, when they comment on this, then they say that when a baby is very small and the mother has to feed that baby, then the entire body of the baby actually rests on the mother's lap. So both the lotus feet, which are desired by the great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, they are worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, but to attain the personal service of the lotus feet of the Lord is so much more difficult. But here in this case, Lord Krishna is actually giving his lotus feet to Putna, and so she's so fortunate in that way also. So that's why it's mentioned. Shukdev Goswami says, Angam yasyaha samakramya. So it's not that he's just touching Putna, he actually gave his lotus feet, both his lotus feet, to Putna directly. And Putna, and what happened? So actually, when Krishna gave, he was in the lap of Putna and he tried to suck the life out of Putna. And Putna was actually trying to throw away Krishna from her. Like, okay, you get out, go get away from her because I know what is happening. But still, Krishna did not leave her. Okay, so, so it's even more glorious or even more mesmerizing that way that, although Putna is a demon, okay, she's not a devotee, and she tries to kill Krishna, and she's trying to push Krishna away, but still Krishna is not leaving her, and still Krishna is clinging to her. So that's amazing. So that's what this Angam Yasya Samakramya. Although Putna is trying to throw away his lotus feet, but still Krishna did not allow her to do that. Okay. And Bhagavan Api Tatstanam, and he is Bhagavan, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aishwarya Samagrasya Virishya Yashasha Sriyaha Yana Vairagya Shaiva Sannam Bhagaitin Gana. It's a famous verse that speaks about the opulence of Bhagavan. But what he does is, he is taking Bhagavan Api, although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Api, he is holding on to the stanam or the breast of Putna. He is not allowing her to get rid of him. So such a glorious mercy, such a glorious compassion and mercy was bestowed upon Putna. That's why it's very astonishing. It's very amazing how Krishna is so merciful to Putna also. Then the Acharyas comment that, so I'll just read some of the comments of the Acharyas. And there are several things also which is mentioned actually. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explaining this phrase, Yatu Dhanyapi Sa Swargam. Yatu Dhani is basically, it means, although she was a witch whose only business was to kill small children and who had tried to kill Krishna also. So although she's a Yatu Dhani Api, just like Bhagavan Api Tatstanam, although he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what he does, he's clinging on to the breast of Putna. And although she's the great demon who's killing children, the most abominable and horrible activity, she kills children. Although she's Yatu Dhani Api, although she's killing children, Sa Swargam. What did Krishna do? He gave her Swarga. Now this Swarga, as Prabhupada writes in the purport, this Swarga is not the Swarga within this material world, one of the 14 planetary systems. But this actually refers to Vaikuntha Loka. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes some references for this. And he quotes this prayers from Lord Brahma in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, after Brahma Vimohan Leela happens, in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, text 35. So he quotes, Sadbeshad Tva Putanapi Sakkulatvam Eva Deva Pita. So he says, you have already arranged to give yourself to Putna and her family members in exchange for her disguising herself as a devotee. Now so Krishna has given himself, which means Krishna has given himself means his devotees, his abodes, and his form, his qualities, everything. He's revealing himself to Putna and her family members also. Now this, when I read this, actually I tried to do some analysis, to do some research. So her family members are basically Bakasura and Aghasura. And in Brahma Vaivarta Purana, it's actually mentioned that Bakasura in his previous life was a great devotee of the Lord. Okay, so actually it's meant in Brahmaveda Purana, an explanation comes of this Bakasura, Pralambasura, and Keshi demon. They were actually, oh, I'll not tell the story, maybe that story is for that particular pastime, but it's mentioned that they are pure devotees of the Lord, and because of some circumstances, they were cursed to become these demons. Okay, and then they went back to the spiritual world after their curse was completed. So that's why, it's when Lord Brahma, he prays Sadveshad Tva Putanapi Sa Kula. So her Kula, who were her Kula? Bakasura was her brother, Aghasura was her brother. They were also exalted devotees of the Lord. So they were also delivered by the Lord in this pastime as Krishna. And Tvam Eva Devapita. So when Krishna is giving himself, then definitely Krishna does not live in Swarga. Okay, we can argue that he lives as Vamadev in Swarga, but then when he gives himself, and with the exalted nature of his compassion which he bestowed upon Putna, we can understand Swarga does not mean the Swargaloka within this material world, but actually the transcendental abode of the Lord. He gives another reference also. This is in 11th canto, chapter 7, text 1. Brahma Bhavaloko. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur giving this reference. Brahma Bhavo Lokapala Swarvasam me Abhikankshinaha. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all other planetary rurals are now praying for me to resume my residence in Vaikuntha. So, Swarvasam is mentioned here. So, Swarvasam is Swar, basically is the root form of this Swarga. So, Swarvasam, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, how it happens is once Krishna's pastimes are over and is to wind up his pastimes, then it's mentioned that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and other planetary rulers are now praying for me to wind up my pastimes and go back to my spiritual abode. So in that reference, it's mentioned Swarvasam. So therefore, Swarga, just like in that reference, in 11th canto, it's mentioned Swarga is the Vaikuntha Loka, the transcendental abode of the Lord, Goloka Dham. Similarly, Swarga here also refers to Goloka Dham itself. So Putna did not attain the Swarga Loka, but she actually went to Vaikuntha Loka. And Srila Jiva Goswami, he gives another reference at the end of this chapter. Okay, in 6th chapter itself of this canto, in the 44th verse, it's mentioned, Ya etat Putana moksham. It's mentioned that Putana attained moksha. So moksha, the understanding is beyond this material world, not within this material world. So that is itself a reference that it implies the Swarga in the spiritual realm and not within this material realm. So Yatu Dhanyapi Sa Swargam. Although she was a witch who had come to kill Krishna, who has killed children, but still she was given the position of Swarga, or position in the transcendental abode of the Lord. Avapa Janani Gatim. Now, Avapa means she attained Janani Gatim. So that destination which is attained by the mothers. And whose mothers? Krishna's mothers, of course. So now, Srila Prabhupada also quotes he also quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in this purport. And he explains that Putana was immediately promoted to Vaikuntha Loka, which is also sometimes described as Swarga, and Putana attained the position of a nurse, Dhatri Uchitam, as described by Uddhava. So he gives the reference from 3rd canto. In 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, I think it's the 23rd verse, where Uddhava speaks about the glories of Krishna in his remembrance when Vidura comes and speaks to him. So there he mentioned that Krishna was so glorious that he gave such an exalted position to Putana, although she had come to kill him. And there he says, Dhatri Uchitam. So Dhatri has two meanings. One is nurse and one is mother. So nursing, when we speak of nursing or Dhatri, nursing can mean activities which are also activities that are performed by a mother, like bathing of the child, dressing of the child, decorating the child, taking care of him, administering herbs, and putting on ornaments. So these are the things which a mother does, but at the same time, these are things which are done by the nurse also. And in previous times, when there was joint families, and even in the Puranic times also, we can see that people used to, or because of joint families, a child will have many mothers. In the sense that they have many mothers. There's the original mother, but then there are other women also in the family who take care of the child just like their own son. And in Puranic times, of course, many maid servants would be there. So they are as good as the mother itself who take care of the child. And even in Krishna's pastimes also it comes where these things are detailed by Sri Jiva Goswami in his Gopala Champu, where the gopis or the maid servants of Yashoda, they assist Yashoda in decorating Krishna, in bathing Krishna. Even the cowherd boys come and they help in decorating Krishna, in bathing Krishna like that. So they, these women are considered as nurses or dhatri. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains this point. So I'll just read from his commentary itself. So he says, this Janani Gatim means the destiny of a mother. So which Vaikuntha planet did Putana attain? The verse explains that Putana attained the same planet as Mother Yashoda, Janani Gatim. Therefore, Putana attained Goloka, but her position was predominated by happiness and reverence, Sukhaishwarya. So was Mother Yashoda's position predominated by happiness and reverence? No, it was completely intimate. So she did not have this awe and reverence attitude towards Krishna, or else there is no reciprocation of rasa between the mother and child. The Vatsalya rasa can blossom only when this awe and reverence mood is not there. But then for Putna, this was not the case. So although she attained the same destination as Mother Yashoda, but still her position was not that of Mother Yashoda. She did not attain the place predominated by service in prema. One cannot say that she attained the status of a mother. Verse 10.6.36 says that place is reserved for those who are anuragi or raktas with pure loving attachment for Krishna. Here verse 38 says that the cows and motherly gopis who fed milk to Krishna during the Brahma Vimohana Leela attained a higher destination than Putana. So because this is where our understanding of this Kaimutya, if Putana could attain such a destination, then what to speak of the destination of the cows and the mothers, Anumataraha, the foster mothers who fed their milk to Krishna. And this happened during Brahma Vimohan Leela, when Lord Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys. Then Krishna expanded himself. And for 1 full year, he was drinking the milk. The calves were drinking the milk of their mother cows. And the cowherd boys, to whom Krishna had expanded, were taking or drinking the milk of the gopis in Vrindavan. So that's what it means when Shukdev Goswami says, Krishna bhuktas tanak shiraha. So Krishna took the milk in full love and affection from the mothers, the foster mothers, as well as, the gopis, as well as the cows. So if Putana can attain such an exalted destination, Janani Gatim, then what to speak of these cows and these mothers, Anumataraha. So therefore, which says that the destination which is achieved by these cows and the mothers is actually exalted than what Putana achieved. So how could Putana, whose enmity was equal to Kamsa's, though she imitated the dress and emotion of a gopi, attain the same status as Yashoda? Therefore, Uddhava says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam, jigham saya payayad apyasadvi, lebhe gatim dhatri uchitam, tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam gajema. Putana attained a status like a nurse. And of course, here also, Kamva, Dayalam, Sharanam, Rajima. Again, that Kaimutya comes. If Putana has attained such a destination, then Kamva, Dayalam, Sharanam, Rajima. Who is there? Who will not surrender onto this merciful Lord? So, so Uddhava mentions that Putana attained a status like a nurse. Dhatri Uchitam, Dhatri Uchitam. Thus, in the present verse, some interpret the word Janani to be Dhatri, nurse. But even then, one should not say that Putana was a direct nurse of Krishna. Rather, she attained a form like a nurse in Golok, filled with Sukhaishwarya, reverential happiness. Okay. So, what we understand is that she was not a direct nurse of Krishna, which means she was, this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, she was not directly in a position of nursing Krishna, but she attained a form like a nurse in Goloka, filled with Sukhaishwarya, or reverential happiness. And she had this mood of nursing Krishna like this. So Jiva Goswami, he writes, but the example of a mother, not of a nurse, is given, and so the purport of the verse is that she attained the destination of mothers. And then he responds, he says, no. The cows and the mothers were Krishna Bhuktas Tanak Shiraha. Their breast milk was consumed by Krishna, meaning they were superior to Putana. Therefore, the cows and the mothers attained the destination of mothers. What more need be said? Kim u Vaktavyam. So this was the position which was attained with Putana. Although she is, in this verse it's mentioned Janani Gatim, so she attained the abode of the mothers, but then she could not directly nurse, and she was assisting Mother Yashoda, but in a mood of Sukha and Aishwarya, which is happiness, and the mood of reverence. So now there is Mother Yashoda, and then there are other gopis also who assist Krishna, who are in pure love of Krishna. But then we can understand that Putana attained a position of nurse which was kind of a bit separated or a bit far from that mood of the other gopis who are assisting Krishna as nurses or as mothers, as dhatris. So there are different levels. So this analysis our acharyas give, just like there are different levels of the gopis also. So there were gopis who had this reverential mood. So this will come later. So they were fearful of going at night when Krishna was playing his flute. So some gopis were not ready to go and they remained back, and some gopis went. So this was for the purification. That's intense, that mood of separation which these gopis should experience who did not go when Krishna called for them by playing his flute. Now this will purify them, and when they go back to the spiritual world, then they'll be allowed to enter this Raslila pastimes also. These details are mentioned by the acharyas. So there are different levels. The point which I'm trying to make is not getting into these details, but there are levels. There are different moods of different devotees also. So although Putana attained such a destination, her mood was different. And one thing also we can understand is, although we are doing this analysis, this seems to be the constitutional position of Putana in the spiritual world itself. So he was like a nurse, and she came down, and all these pastimes happened. And when she attained, she went back to her constitutional position as the nurse of Krishna. So this was her position, and we will see that during the pastimes of killing Bakasura, Pralambasura, and Keshi demon also, and Akasura also, that they also attained their constitutional position after this has happened. It's similar to the pastimes of Jaya and Vijay. When they came, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Shishupal, Dantavakara, like that. And after that, they attained their position in this Vaikuntha world. So these demons also, as explained in Brahma Vaivarta Purana, they also go back to the spiritual world and attain a constitutional position, although they come here as demons. Okay, so these are some things, and there's one more point which I would like to mention is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he mentions that in the current context, Putana refers to those pseudo gurus who actually mislead their disciples. Okay, so Putana, so this also, there is also an article which Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati wrote, that just like Putana came and she tried to kill Krishna, when a living entity attains this human form of life, okay, then he has this full opportunity to take up devotional service, to attain the transcendental knowledge, perfect his life, go back to the spiritual world. But when a person pretends to be a guru, a sadguru, or a guru who is there only for, or who is ready to give instructions to the disciples so that the ultimate benefit can be bestowed upon him, but he is a cheater. He is a cheater, and he is not giving ultimate instructions. He is just deriving benefits from the disciple. Then he is just like Putana, who tries to come and kill Krishna. But as Putana was not able to kill Krishna, similarly there are the devotees of the Lord also who go out and preach the message of the Lord, and they help, or they ensure that people are not diverted from these pseudo gurus, these Putana-like pseudo gurus, and then they can take up devotional service. So this is explained in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati also wrote that in an article. And Just like, one more thing that we can understand is, just like Putna is, the adjectives which have been used. Here Yatudhani is being used, and the previous is also. She's mentioned as Loka Balagni, Rakshasi, Rudhirashana. So these are the adjectives, or these are the Visheshanas which are used for Putna, which means that she used to kill human children, Rakshasi, she's a she demon, and she's simply hankering for blood. So, in the present context, no, the hosts who kill human children, it mentions Loka Balagni. So, those mothers or those women who actually go for abortion are, in one sense, no less than Putanas, because they are also killing children within their womb. Okay, so this is something which is, it's a very horrible activity, because children are, they are helpless. They are complete. It's like when there's a kshatriya and is fighting in the battlefield, he does it of his own accord. He comes, he fights, and then when he dies, then that's understood. But when a child who is completely dependent upon the mother, he has taken complete shelter of the mother, and the mother is completely merciless and she kills the child, then it's considered to be a very horrible and abominable activities. Srila Prabhupada spoke a lot about this. So those mothers who are engaged in doing abortion or who conduct abortion, then they themselves will have to take birth, and then they will not see the light of the day. He says they will not see the light of the day, and they'll be killed after they move from one womb to another womb, like this. So this is a very horrible situation. So, and actually, recently I saw a poll where, in the secular world, there is our Chief Justice. He this debate is actually going on whether abortion should be legalized, or whether it should be considered as whether it should be a proper way of, or whether it should be legalized, or it should be considered as a law. It should be there or law. And then he mentioned that we are speaking about the right of the mother, but then what about the right of the child who's unborn? He just made out that statement. No decision has been arrived, and there are several polls which are asking from people. No, so what do you think? Whether the rights of the child also should be considered, not the rights, but the uh, the life of the child also should be considered, or is it the position of the mother, or is it decision of the mother? And 80% of the people responded that the position of the mother is actually more important than the child. And this actually, it's a very grave situation, because people are not able to understand the sinful activity that they are actually becoming part of, or actually going to commit. Because the understanding is that, this knowledge, the spiritual knowledge of, they are not being bodies, they are being spirit souls, and as soon as the conception happens and the soul has entered and he is in that body, and that he will suffer when this happens, they have no understanding of it. And the reason of that being that the modern secular education, which also acts as putana only. So the secular education, what it does is, it does not give this transcendental knowledge. It does not give the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge to people. So they think, the repercussion or the conclusion which they draw is that life comes from matter, and if it is matter, and if it's going to be bothersome matter, then why not do away with that? So when the child is in the womb, the child has not come out yet. So therefore, since he has not come out and is not in right in front of your vision, therefore it can be disposed of. So this is because of the way children are educated. The modern education, Srila Prabhupada called it a slaughterhouse. So this modern education also is like a pseudo guru, where people go, they admit their children to school with an understanding that they will be taught proper things in the school. But what they are taught is these things which lead them into performing sinful activities. So if you see about it, the Putanas are actually all around us, in the sense that there are several people, there are thousands and millions of people who are there to misguide, but there are only few people who are there to guide us properly. So therefore, preaching is required. It's important. Book distribution must be done. The knowledge must be spread. And yeah, so there are several other explanations also which can be given of Putanas. We can speak from ISKCON's context also, where, if devotees are not preaching the transcendental message as it is, then, although we should not say, but in some sense, they are influenced by this Putana mentality as well, although they are engaged in devotional service. Now, this is grave, right? So obviously, this is our intention is not to call them Putnas, but the message itself is so grave. Just like I'll just finish off in another 2 minutes. Just like this wave of Sanatana Dharma is going around now. If we see the secular world itself, people are into Sanatana Dharma, into Hinduism, like that. And some of our devotees also are influenced by this. So they are supporting those pseudo gurus like Sadguru or this Art of Living Guru and those people. And these people are actually glorified by our devotees, our ISKCON devotees. Actually, there are videos in YouTube where they are glorifying them, saying that they are promoting doing welfare activities for the youth. They are promoting Sanatana Dharma, this, that, and all. But are they really doing that? Are they really preaching Krishna's message? Are they really doing benefit for the welfare of the living entities? No, they are those pseudo gurus who are being praised by our own devotees, and these pseudo gurus are basically Putnas only, right? So they are Putnas only. So why are we engaging? Why are we praising them? Like, we don't have to do that, right? So, but we are also including, if we start speaking that Putana was good in coming and killing Krishna, no devotee would like that. Of course, when Putana, we do understand from philosophical point of view and Puranic references that Putana was a devotee of the Lord and all these things happened. But as our acharyas explain, these pseudo gurus are the Putnas, and when we devotees we are engaged in praising them, then it's very bad actually. It's very bad. It does not show good precedence. It shows that although these devotees are engaged in devotional service, but if those who blaspheme Krishna, those who think Krishna is impersonal, those who have no love for Krishna, those who think Krishna's pastimes are all Maya, and then the devotees who are engaged in devotional service praise them, then where is their heart? Where is their heart? Where is that devotion towards Krishna? Where is the devotion to please Krishna? Is Krishna pleased or happy when someone says that Krishna does not have hands, eyes, legs, no pastimes, and things like that? Krishna is not pleased. But when devotees themselves engage in praising such pseudo gurus, then what is happening here? So this is not proper. So therefore, some tinge, some deviation, this tinge has also entered of this Putana mentality, which we should avoid actually. And of course, that happens by hearing the message from Srila Prabhupada's books, from Srila Prabhupada's words, like that. So we have to protect ourselves. The point is we have to protect ourselves from this Putana-like mentality and understand Lord Krishna's pastimes, and we have to ensure that Krishna is pleased with our devotional service. That is the point. The point is not to become famous. The point is to, of course, there is chanting of 16 rounds, following of regulative principles, and there is preaching also. But then, if our preaching leads us to compromise with Krishna's position, then it's difficult to understand what kind of preaching that is and how it's benefiting. Preaching means benefiting other living entities, but are we really benefiting other living entities by preaching like this? And by setting an example where those devotees who follow these devotees who are praising other pseudo gurus, what kind of impression will they have? What kind of Krishna consciousness will they develop? Will they be able to come out of the offensive mentality which they are cultivating against Krishna, or those offensive mentality which is propagated by the pseudo gurus? These are the questions which needs answer, but which has to be understood by these devotees also. Okay, so I'll stop here. If you have any questions, then we can discuss. It's already quite late.
In Golok Vrindavan,
Yes.
the love for the Lord is so intense that gopis forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes.
But as you mentioned that Putna has achieved nurse as a constitutional position, but then she was in a mood of reverence. And in Golok Vrindavan, we hear that there is no awe and reverence. Everyone is loving Krishna so intense that they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes.
So is it right to say that in Golok Vrindavan also there is awe and reverence mood? And if yes, then devotees who are there in Golok Vrindavan understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, I don't have a complete answer for this, but it's the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur where he says that uh, Putana, she attained the position of Sukha Ishwarya. So it's Dhatri Uditam. So she attained the mood of a nurse, but that mood was somewhat influenced by the happiness that she achieves and Aishwarya and the reverential mood that she has towards Krishna. So what exactly is happening here? No, I don't know. Okay, but this is what the Acharya says. So Dhatri Uchitam basically means that she had the mood of the motherly affection towards Krishna. So maybe that is the predominant mood. But then there is this mood of reverential attitude also, which is tinged. So it's like kind of mixed. That reverential attitude is also mixed with that. So they are not within the inner whole of Krishna's pleasure pastimes, Krishna's pastimes, the topmost level of Vatsalya, but it's there. It's there. So they are removed, they're separated from that. But at the same time, Putana did not go to the Vaikuntha planets where the awe and reverence mood is the predominant mood. Okay. So she did not go there because her predominant mood seems to be that of a nurse. But it was tinged with this reverential attitude also. If her mood was if Krishna's, or if Krishna wanted, or no, if her constitutional position was that of awe and reverence mood, she would have gone to Vaikuntha planets, not to Goloka Vrindavan. So, because primarily it's Dharti Uchitam and Janani Gatim, it's very specifically mentioned. Definitely she went to Goloka only. But at the same time, she's kind of separated from the inner group, which are purely Vatsalya Rasa only, without any tinge. Like that. Okay, so stop here. Yes.
So I think just to add one point to this question answer. So in Golokachat seminar, Gokul Chandra Prabhu explained the Aishwarya Bhav. So the Vaikuntha has predominance of Aishwarya, and as you go higher, it becomes more and more less. Ayodhya is more or less like that. So in Goloka, it is absolutely free, but then even higher is Gokul, which is here. So it has no absolute tinge of Aishwarya. So Acharya has also explained that there is some resemblance of Aishwarya even in Goloka, but that is not there in Gokul. So it's like relative. It's more and more refined. That's all. Maybe here and there some tinge is there, but Gokul is more pure. Means that doesn't mean that Goloka is Aishwarya Dham also.
Correct.
So, but just relative consideration, I guess. So, some examples Acharyas give for that. How Gokul is higher than Goloka. There is some Aishwarya there in Gokul also. I mean, Goloka also, like that. So, I think it's relative thing. And one more question. Putana, you were telling that she was a devotee, like that. So, in the case of Jay and Vijay, we also hear that not that always Jay and Vijay come as very rarely they come, otherwise they are original demons.
Yes.
So
Or they're originally in the Vaikuntha Loka only.
no, yeah, they are original there, but I'm telling about the other demons coming as Hiranyakashipu, Kumbhakarna, all those people, they were all real demons, not necessarily Jay and Vijay. Sometimes only they come.
Yes.
So now in case of Putana and other demons, so is that same logic applies, or always that same devotee comes as Putana and goes back?
Oh, yeah. No, once you go back to the spiritual world, they don't come back again.
No, as a past.
That understanding.
Okay.
That's the understanding. So yeah, I don't have an answer to this, okay, because Acharyas don't specifically mention this. They specifically mention Lagu Bhagavatamrita with respect to Jay and Vijay. But about the other demons, I don't know. I don't have a reference. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki,